Hi, Purple Ella here and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about autism and routines. So in today's video I'm going to talk to you about why autistic people enjoy and need routines. I'm going to talk about when routines can become a problem for autistic people. I'm going to talk about how we can help autistic people adapt to change in their routines. And I'm also going to talk about my routine, what it looks like and how I implement it and how it helps me through my day. So why do autistic people need routines? Speaking for me personally, I find that I need a daily routine in order to keep in control of my life. So the world can feel like it's really chaotic and crazy and anything can happen. It's really super unpredictable and I just don't know where I am with things a lot of the time, and changes can happen and things that I don't like can happen, and it all just feels like a big messy room and I just feel like I'm sat in the middle of it, unable to control anything. And if I put in place a routine, then that means that everything gets neat and tidy and I know what's going to happen and I feel in control and I feel calm, and this is what reduces my anxiety enough to a manageable enough level to be able to function day to day. Without my routine I would feel completely out of control, which would lead me to having more meltdowns and more shutdowns and just generally struggling more. So it just helps me keep in control of my life, which makes me feel happy, and happy Ella is a good Ella. So when are routines a problem for autistic people? Now I would say that routines can become a problem when we become too rigid with how things need to be. So if you're so rigid with your routine that means that if an unexpected change happens it's going to really flip you out, then that routine has become restrictive rather than useful. So for example, like with my children, particularly my eldest super kid, can get really entrenched in his routine. So his end of day routine is that he has his dinner, he gets ready for bed, and then he comes into my room where he chills out and he watches his YouTube videos, his gaming videos that he likes to watch, and then he feeds the cat, and then he watches some more YouTube videos, and then he goes to bed. And no matter what is happening, even if we've got guests, even if we were halfway through watching a film, Super Kid would come upstairs and start watching his YouTube videos at the time that he does that. And I would say that that can be a little bit restrictive, because let's say we wanted to go out for the evening and change things up a little bit, he would become really stressed by this idea and really resistant, and so that's where a routine can become like restrictive and a little bit of a trap. So if the autistic person that you know, or you're an autistic person and you're finding that your routines are basically making you feel like you can't change things up, or like you can't take part in activities that you would like to because your routine is preventing you from doing so, then maybe it's time to have a little look at whether that's still useful to you. I would also say similarly, if your routine includes eating certain foods or wearing certain clothes or being restrictive in any kind of way like that, then it's probably not useful, and it might be time to have a look at how you can become just a little teeny bit more flexible. I would advise that the best way to do that is to almost make the new thing the new routine for that day. So I know that for me personally, I almost have to trick myself, like if I need to change something up. So say I usually make my YouTube video on a Thursday, but on a Thursday instead I've got an appointment that I have to be at, a medical appointment or an appointment at the children's school or something like that. That can really throw me for a loop, and I can feel like I don't know how to cope with today because it's not what it usually is. So what I do is I make a new routine for that day, structured around what I can still do of my old routine, incorporating the new thing, and I might even go as far as writing it all down, and then I feel back calm and in control of what's happening. So if you need to change your routine a little bit, I'd say that's a good way to do it. I would also say, if possible, if you can just make small changes, that's also a really good idea. So just like little changes, like hey, maybe we won't have the orange food today, or maybe we'll use different clothes this morning, or just a little thing. Well, that's probably quite a big thing actually, so maybe just maybe today we'll stick with the same clothes but we'll have different socks, or we'll have different pants, or some little change and then another little change once you've got used to that little change. And so basically what I'm saying is small steps. If you want to change your routine or your autistic loved one's routine, do it with really little changes. Let that sit for a while. When that's comfortable, then you could look at making another little change. That's my advice for if a routine has become too restrictive. So as I said at the end of this video, I'm talking now about my routine. So this is like, I feel kind of embarrassed talking about this because I feel like I sound like the most boring person ever. But I have a daily routine. And I know that before I had my daily routine, I used to have a lot more meltdowns and I used to feel a lot more stressed. So even though on paper it looks like I'm a little bit boring, I like to stick to my daily routine where possible because it helps me feel safe. So what I did was, basically my life lives on my iPhone. My executive functioning is very poor, so I have replaced my poor executive functioning in my head with my iPhone, which works as my brain. So what I did was I used just the basic notes app, the basic lists app on my iPhone, you know, the reminders app. And I made myself a routine on that app that starts the minute that I wake up in the morning and finishes when I go to bed. So it looks a little bit something like this. So I get up, I do my yoga, I organise the things that are needed for the day, I sort out the cat, feeding the cat and changing the cat litter and anything that needs to be done with my cat. Then I get washed and dressed. Then I have like a chunk that I've called free time, that's like a couple of hours. Then I have lunch at the same time every day, and I check all my social media and stuff to keep in touch with you guys. Then I have another chunk that's labelled free time. Then I have cooking dinner, sorting out the children's homeworks, getting the children all settled and ready for bed. Then I have another chunk that I call free time, and then it's time for me to go to bed. I read for half an hour and then I go to sleep. So then the blocks that are called free time can be like more flexible, and this is another way that I've built flexibility into my routine. So I check my to-do list or anything that's on my calendar and it fits into those blocks. So some days I'll be making videos, some days I'll be writing blog posts, some days I'll be at meetings at the children's school, some days I might even meet up with a friend. Go wild! So basically I use that free time to do the things that I need to do in my day-to-day life. And then it's kind of structured around this skeleton of meal times and stuff that I do at the start of the day and stuff that I do at the end of the day. It's all written out in a list on my iPhone so that I can just keep checking it through the day, and it just makes me feel reassured. I'm like, oh, what time is it? Oh yeah, this is where I'm at this time, I'm doing this. It's fine, everything's fine. I try not to say that if I'm in the street or out loud because people might think that I'm a little bit crazy. Yeah, so that is how I implement my daily routine. If you've got any questions about this, please do leave me a comment and I'll get back to you, or let me know about your routines, because I'd love to know if there's anything that you're doing that might work well for me or for other people that are watching this video. So if you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to hear more from me about autism and about my autistic family and how we live our day-to-day lives, then please do subscribe to my channel. I'm just going to put a little link here now for you to do that. And also there's going to be some additional videos for you to watch next if you fancy over in this corner. Also, it would be great if you would give me a thumbs up like, because I do check my videos and I do love it when people like them because it makes me feel like what I'm doing is worth doing. And also, like I said, if you could leave me a comment, that would also make my day. I try to reply to all my comments, so I will try and get back to you if you do that. Thanks for watching. Bye! Routines are really... So, why do autistic people need routines? So like, speaking...